Okay, everybody, it looks like we're going to get this going. So once again, everybody, please welcome my guest, Gregory. Got me even messing up on my speaking now. I'm so angry. Gregory Faulkner, welcome to Late Night in the Midlands.
Thanks, and it's Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, I'm sorry.
Hey,
wow, I'll tell you
what. Me that lately.
I'm sorry. It's my mistake. You know what? I probably hold the record for screwing up names more than anybody else. So,
right through with you.
Well, listen, thank you so much for being a guest on Late Night in the Midlands. I appreciate it. And, it's not been easy tonight. I hear that they do this to you a lot. Is that true?
Yeah. The last couple of times haven't been too bad because it's been pretty regular. But, the closer we get to all this stuff coming around and happening, the more it's happening to us. It does happen a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you would, sir, please let the listeners know a little bit about your background and where we're going to go tonight.
Sure. Right now I'm actually a horse rancher. We raise quarter horses in Northern California. And I'm gathering my thoughts today too, Michael, because I've had a really bad day. But we're going to slide that to the side, I think, right now. And I grew up having two near-death experiences, one at the age of 4 from an impalement, and the other time I was 18 and I drowned in the Navy. The first time I came out of my body, I always remember that because I was surrounded by angels and they were holding hands in a circle, doctors and nurses in white. And I came out of my body at that time, obviously, but that kind of set me up. I grew up seeing spirits communicating, seeing them sitting on my bed at night or standing in the corner watching me. It wasn't scary for me. I just really got used to it. It was always very intuitive. And then when I had the drowning incident in the Navy, after I got near the bottom of the pool, I was suddenly out of my body. I was very relaxed because I was breathing water at that point. And I came out of my body at that point, and that's when I had my first out-of-body conscious communications. I could hear myself speaking in thought, but it sounded like words out loud. Anyway, so I carried on through life, and then in 1999 I had a visitation, and by that I mean I'm a spiritual person. I've never been a religious person. You never find me in a church unless I took the wrong turn. But people ask me, and yes, I believe in God and I believe in Jesus and all that on the spiritual aspect. But I had a visitation in the middle of the day, and wide awake, so it wasn't a dream. And I was filled with energy, and then I was filled with love. This immense amount of love came into me. And then I had the vision of Jesus in front of me, and he told me, I've come to awaken you to what you chose to come back and do. And from that point on, my life really changed. I mean, it really catapulted. And in that time period there, he showed me a lot of things, but especially the future from 1999 at that point up to 2018.
And I really want to get into what you were shown as we go along in this program. If you could, tell me a little bit about what this near-death experience with both of them, what they were like. Now, I've had out-of-body experience, and I may have had a near-death, and somebody thinks that's what it was. I don't know. So tell me what it was like for you.
Well, near-death, obviously, is, as it says, you're in a life-death situation and closest to the death aspect. For me, it was a lifting out of my body, and I guess for people that haven't experienced it, would be very similar to what people try to aspire in the way of astral traveling, where you actually feel your spirit lift out of your body. You can attain that too in that, and I used to do that, and I have done it since, but usually there's a message to it. I know I've had people talk to me who have died like 15 and 18 times in a matter of like a week, from repetitive cardiac arrest, and they can't remember anything. And it doesn't mean that because you're at a near-death situation that you're going to have the experience. I think the experience is part of what's set for you before you come here to help you fulfill something in your life that is coming up. And they use those moments to get you there. It's like, and I think in some ways they obviously help to create the moment because it's pre-planned. And because when I was struggling to get back up to the surface, it was like the more I struggled, the faster I sank. So finally I just gave over to it. But it's basically, you're out of your body, and it's sort of an astral situation. But usually you're not by yourself, and I've never been by myself in any of those.
That's amazing. I guess I wonder, does everybody, when they have these, some are pronounced dead, they have heart attacks, and then they bring them back. Could it be that they have these near-death experiences too, but some people don't remember them? Or is it, how do you think that works?
Well, I can't say for other people, to be honest, but I would think that if you're being taken to a near-death situation, you're gonna know if you have that experience, because they're taking you there pretty much for that reason usually. If you don't, then it's just something physical that you're going through, the physical body situation where there is no message there. As for implanting messages, the only thing I would think is that if you didn't remember, possibly it could be something that's triggered to come out into your life at a later period of time. Because I know I have been programmed when I've been in a meditation and a healing situation where I've had a TV screen in front of my face and then splits into two and then splits into four. And it just kept flipping world events, just like you see on the old world news things in the movie houses. And you can't look at any one thing. You just have to sit and absorb it into your brain. And I've had that done for when, like as we're going into this now, a lot of things that they put into my memory banks back then, I know that's where I get my intuition from on certain things, and that feeling in my gut is because one of those things that they triggered is coming forward. There's a few of the things I can remember, but when they flashed all those events in front of me, I've never mentioned that before on an interview. But some of the things I've seen, like the sky full of jets, just like on the Independence Day, where they're all going after the mothership there. The sky full of jets. I've seen that, and I knew that they were flying to the Middle East. For a huge, huge battle. I've seen great walls of water. Not like tsunamis. I'm talking about 200-foot walls that are just coming from out of the ocean and just coming. Like 60, 80, 100 miles inland. So I've seen some of those things, but as for the actual triggering of when and where, I'm sure that's programmed into me. So
now you are actually a contactee as well, correct?
Yeah. I was shown the visit. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask how that works, and is this still happening? And maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I can. I'm trying to nutshell a few things tonight. So. Well, as I say, Jesus showed me up to the world events, what's going to happen with China and all that stuff up until 2016. But I didn't have that last 2 years in place, and then 7 years ago, and that was in '99. So 7 years ago, I started channeling this extraterrestrial being, because with the ability I can channel. I've always been able to channel, and accurately. And this being came in and identified himself as Palladian, and he spent 7 years. Are you getting that static?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hear it.
He filled me in on the last 2 years, 16 to 18, and he prepared me. Wow, this is bad. He prepared me for 7 years for this. We weren't allowed to talk to anybody about it, and then just early this year, he gave us permission to now take it out and start to tell everybody. And basically, in the end of, at the 2018 point, there is actually going to be an ET intervention. That's going to actually. Here we go. They get at me now.
They don't want. Yeah, nope. They don't want you to give us this information, but we'll keep pounding at it, Jeffrey, as best we can. Now, when you say they, you are talking about the extraterrestrials. That's who's giving you all this information?
That's right, to do with the ET intervention. That's my contacts. And my contacts have actually, we were kind of led to go outside one night last fall, and we walked out and looked straight up. We didn't really understand why, but we looked straight up. At the very second, we had, on the moonlit night, we had a UFO glower, a triangular, elongated, not symmetrical, equal size, but a longer shaped one. And it went over us. It was amazing. It floored me. It totally convinced me over anything anybody could ever argue about. It was about 3 football fields in size, flat black, had no lights, not the 3 corners that you usually see on some of them. It was flat black, no lights, no sound. It just floated over our ranching valley here. And we watched it. And the next night they came in and channeled, and my wife does the talking on her end, and she asked about the ship we saw, and he said, that's a Pleiadian scientific vessel. That's the one that we're on. And we're here actually to help to harmonize the heavy quake areas that get hit hard. We go in and hover and right over the epicenter, and we harmonize the energy in the shelf there, And so I found that interesting to kind of lessen the aftershocks and to obviously reduce damage and save lives, but also like in a lot of ways that ship goes to these places to really they're holding the planet together in a lot of ways right now. And then in January of this year, a few months after that, and that explanation, we look on the YouTube, and it's got it on there, Black Triangular UFO, Santiago, Chile, and it's on there for about 20 minutes to half an hour. I think it's closer to half an hour. And it's at night, but you can really kind of see the shape, and you can see the lights flashing. You actually see a plane blip going by, so you really see the size of it. And we said, oh, my God, that's the one we saw. And, it was hovering over the ground in Santiago, Chile, the exact night they had that huge earthquake there. Total confirmation.
Yeah, that is amazing. So now, are these UFOs, these aliens, when should we expect actual contact to be made where it's no longer deniable? Everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, we've been told that my wife and I have a direct contact coming up. I'm really antsy on that. It's different when you channel them, and it's going to be a whole different experience to stand in front of somebody. We've been told that we'll actually be contacted, and we'll actually, it sounds like something out of some psych ward, but yeah, that we're actually going to be on the scientific vessel and be shown a lot of things and brought up to speed on it and how we can help. Now, they have told all the world government, you have to understand that these ETs, Pleiadians, Arcturians and such, there's 7 nations together. And these 7 nations are working basically to free us from our ignorance and our slavery on this planet, because we've just, we've been brought up to work 9 to 5 and don't argue with it. Go to work sick if you have to, but, a good work ethic is the best ethic, because we've been working for the hybrids, and the Illuminati pretty much are the hybrids and the Greys and this sort of a thing since time began for us here. They went against the universal code by interfering with us being here. So as they're coming in to do this, and now they've told the world governments to bring disclosure. And they told them, if you do not, by spring next year, and I announced this actually on Steve Hudgens' Texas UFO station a bit back, that they'll be coming in next spring, and they'll be doing flybys in our atmosphere that can't be denied. It could be anywhere from 6 or 10 ships to actually 300. They'll come in and they'll be seen, they'll be known, and they'll go out to force this disclosure. Now, because of this, almost again like a confirmation, because of this, now we're seeing even on our news and on some of these history channels and stuff, like bringing in this scenario of ET invasion. Well, they're bringing this in, Michael, because they've been told that they're coming next year in force to visually let us know that they are here, to force the disclosure. So the government still aren't backing off. The